Good evening, gentlemen. How are you all? It's Saturday night. It's about 10 o'clock. Sorry for being a few minutes behind. But the weather's okay. It's Saturday evening. It's a bit of a dull time of year, travel-wise and all kinds of stuff. I just say hello to everybody because I'm a few minutes behind. Leeds, good evening. Brian Street, good evening to you, mate. Natural in the buff Vietnamese lady. Love it. Hi, Ed. I'm currently in a restaurant with no knickers on. Hope you're proud. Good for you, baby. Rock on. Okay. Bernard Purcell, Pinball, Broccoli High Kicks, Devil's Den, Niall M. She had a hairy muff. I do like the hairy stuff. Okay. Nice to have it. Popcorn, good evening to you. Looking forward to the chat and putting a stake in her heart at the top. Okay, we have I don't know. I mean, Charles. I mean, they're a bit funny, really, but it's these fakes that I hope things don't get out of hand later anyway. But it's all light-hearted stuff. There's no really big issues to talk about right now, unless you consider a couple of bloody dorks at running for prime minister. Other than that, there's nothing really. Really interesting. Danish Bacon, nice to hear from you. Gemini Star. Tampa Guy 35. The Tampa Guy 30, nice to hear. Paul Hoskin. We all love some Ed. Okay, nice, thank you. Windows open, Ed. Okay. Mal, yeah, hi Ed. It's a bit late tonight, but looking forward to evening chat. Hi everyone. Mark, are we live, my dudes? Life of Razor. It's already 70 people in the chat. Farang Travels. Love this. Farang Travels, love this intro. It's interesting about that intro. Some people say it sounds like Crossroads. Just a little bit of a beat there, but I never thought of that. Someone else said it's bloody laborious, and someone else said it's a cool intro. So you can't please everyone. I am Tilt, Daniel Mills. Tony Edwards, you're loving these live streams. Third one this week on this channel. Yeah, I think it is, isn't it? Barry from EastEnders, nice to hear from you. Yogi Bear, good evening. Kate Bush birthday today, 64. Really. I was amazed when she first burst on the scene. She was only 19 when she was writing her own songs and all that kind of stuff. 64. So lovely woman, absolutely lovely. Very talented woman. Very talented. Tom Streeter, Ty Billy Boy, Neil Fleet, Poppycorn. It's an interesting question. Very well done. Poppycorn, I came across an old episode of Columbo, and I had to say it to the end. Who was your favorite 70s detective? I can answer that easily. Who's the black private dick who's a sex machine to all the chicks? I must admit, my favorite 70s detective was Shaft. I just loved it. I loved the original film. I loved the amazing theme tune, one of the greatest ever. I read all the Shaft books by Ernest Tidyman. It was very readable. I loved all of that in the 70s. And also, there was a TV series. Now, what it is, the books had Shaft as a very thuggish character. He would shoot first and ask questions later. Very thuggish character. And by the time it made it to the big screen, that Oscar-winning movie, well, thanks you an Oscar. By the time Shaft made it to the screen, they sort of softened up his character. Not a great deal, but they softened up his character to make it a bit more palatable. But then later in the 70s, they made a TV series, which is very entertaining. But they cleaned up his character so much, he didn't even do casual rumpy pumpy. There's a scene in one of the TV episodes when Shaft, an old flamer says, "Why do you stay the night?" He says, "No, I don't do that anymore. I don't do it." What? My God Almighty! But we're talking about Shaft here. It's not about Shaft. So Shaft was my favorite TV detective, and also that actor who played it, Richard Ramsey. Wow, awesome. So as for Columbo, can we do an impression? We do a quick impression of Columbo. It's some brilliant characters around those. A quick impression of Columbo. I just had another thought. Something like that. It was something like that anyway. That was Columbo. But didn't they have some strange detectives? I mean, we used to say, like, you know, in Britain that the Americans had a motley crew of TV detectives. They had one with a glass eye and a dirty Mac. They had one in a wheelchair, one with a bald head, which is who sucked a lollipop. One with a cowboy. The other strange crew. But anyway, thanks for that. You know, thanks for giving us something to talk about there. Anyway, it's Popcorn. Okay, evening, Ed Chatters. McLaren F1 race. Eddie, no, I just pulled out Channel 4 watching Le Mans 66, a film documenting Ford versus Ferrari. Oh, well, you watch that later? You watch that later, can't it? Nice to hear from you. Wayne, good evening to you, mate. Pele, Chaz Brown, Ivan. Brian Street, still 20 minutes of James Bond I'm watching. Oh, you know, that's he lives at the end anyway. He lives at the end. Except for that last movie. Except that he doesn't necessarily live at the end, but then he will return. You know, all got a bit serious, that last James Bond movie. What was it called? No Time to Die. Got a very humorless film. In fact, I think No Time to Die is probably the most humorless James Bond film that I think I've seen. I think, you know, it's almost devoid of humor, but not to everyone's taste. But, you know, I thought it was all right. Let's see. Singapore down, HW. Eddie, get some antibiotics for that crud in your throat. Okay. You noticed. Gary Hughes, Daniel Kelly. Hey up, Eddie, I'm seeing you more than my 20-stone wife. Oh, well, okay. Well, that can only be a good thing, mate. Farang Travels, thank you for that super chat. Thank you for that super chat, mate. Like it. Paul Hoskins, I love Bush. I don't blame you, mate. I do as well. The good old days. I wonder, was Kate here? Oh no, that's sacrilege. We can't say that. But Kate Bush was an amazing talent. She'd come along and she'd done her own thing. She'd done it all. She wasn't afraid that other people would ridicule, and some of them did. When some people heard that voice, they ridiculed her for it. She wasn't afraid to do something totally different. She had the kind of artistic courage that you simply do not see in this day and age. And of course, she wrote and performed all her own songs. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Happy birthday to her. Daniel Mills, Columbo was the man. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Daniel Kelly, Frank Cannon. Oh, yeah, we have one with the also one that was grossly overweight. Frank Cannon. What was the actor's name? What was that actor's name now? But Frank Cannon, the actor who played him, said that why is a big fat man popular playing the detective? He said because he appeals to the older guy. He appeals to the older guy who likes to think he can handle himself if the going gets rough. So William Conrad, I think his name, played a great part. Cannon was a great series. McLaren F1 race. Shaft, you're damn right. Absolutely. Seamus Doherty. I watched some of Jackie Brown last night. Probably the least known Tarantino film. I watched that only once. Well, only once, and I must admit, as the time goes by, I do find a lot of Tarantino's films to be very, very slow, especially that one. Very, very slow, that movie. Each scene takes an eternity to get to the point. And I like Tarantino's earlier work, but I find a lot of it to be really slow. Let me see now. Mal, Colombia. I think you mean Colombo. Just one more thing. Yeah, just one more thing. Okay. Kojak was good. Kojak was brilliant, wasn't it? Yeah, I can't do a Kojak impersonation. All right, give me a lollipop. That's not a very good call. But yeah, a detective with a butt. And those Telly Savalas was only the second man in the whole world to have a bald head. The first one was Yul Brynner, and the second one was Telly Savalas. Even though both of those actors have been around quite, you can see Telly Savalas with a little bit of hair in old black and white episodes of The Twilight Zone. And of course, he was a wonderful actor. Very, he had to bust up with Led Zeppelin, didn't he, Telly Savalas? Because his bald head was so rather unusual in those days. Wasn't he sharing an airplane with Led Zeppelin during the 70s, from America to England, and they were teasing him. I think they were all in business class, and they were teasing him like, yeah, it was. He had to bust up at Led Zeppelin during the flight, and they were getting on his nerves. But yeah, Kojak was brilliant, classic. Paul Hoskin, Randall and Hopkirk. That's not an American detective, but that's 60s. Randall and Hopkirk was wonderful. I think I'm right. So was that a John Barry theme tune? I think he put himself about. I think that might have been a John Barry theme tune as well. But Randall and Hopkirk, Kenneth Cope played the dead detective, in a white suit. And the guy's name, and he was never really in anything. Who played Randall? Can anyone remember his name? I'll say, if anyone let someone else get it. But I actually thought he was a very charismatic actor. He was that kind of, hangdog, down at heel, private eye, and he played a brilliant part. In fact, I'm really surprised that detective who played Randall, he didn't go on to other things really. I can't really think just about anything else he was in other than that. But great series. Let's see. Up to me. Good evening. Broccoli high kicks. Eddie, can you talk Thai? Only when I'm pissed. Okay. My old man looked just Wayne M. My old man looked just like Frank Cannon. Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Pinball. Richard Ramsey played Shaft in the movie. Great theme tune by Isaac Gates. One of the best theme tunes ever. And he deservedly won an Oscar. Wonderful stuff. Mark, Kate Bush's song Running Up That Hill became #1 recently, 37 years after its release. That was one of their later songs as well, wasn't it? That was a great song. She was so creative, so brave and all that. Am I right in thinking that song became big? I don't think Kate Bush was ever really big in America, but that song was promoted in that series Stranger Things, isn't it? That's it. I've heard so many people loving that series Stranger Things, but I can't really watch it really because it's the protagonists in it are all kids really. I can't watch anything. I like I like actors, adult actors. I can't really watch that program, to be honest with you. Let's see. Nomad Overseas. Ed, you should look up a film called Black Dynamite. It's a sort of modern satire on the Shaft blaxploitation type films. Very, very fun. Very fun. I've never heard of that one, but I could well have yeah, okay. Okay, which is that Netflix or something? I'll tell you a movie which is a really funny film. It goes back to like I think it was made in the late 70s or early 80s. It's a film called I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. And that is a really funny send up of the blaxploitation movies. It's got it's I'm forgetting who the star is, but it's got a little brief appearance by a very young Chris Rock and other famous faces. But that is bloody good. It's called I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. Well worth a look. I was watching it quite recently, and it was really, really funny. Let's see, let's see. I do believe in fairies. Who loves you, babe? I know that was Kojak's saying. A bit of a crap saying. A bit of a catchphrase, wasn't it? HW Kojak, hands down. Okay. Pinball says Cannon. John Mitch. I had a crush on Kate Bush. I was just into my teenage years at the time. You and me both, mate. You and me. I thought she was wonderful. I mean, what I loved about her, I had a big poster of her on my wall where she's dressed in sort of like a black cloak. And I do believe Kate Bush was actually offered the film part as a vampire, one of those, vampire movies, and she turned it down. Really, I would have thought she'd be perfect for that. Wonderful talent, wonderful, love her. HW, nice shirt, Ed. Thank you. Shane W. used to love the real life detective Roger Cook. Oh, he was bloody good, wasn't he? Roger Cook investigated people. He investigated so many people. Because there was a lot of famous scenes. And he had his own TV series. I think he got recognized too much in the long run. But some guy who was running a shady business ended up, battering with an iron bar, and he had broken ribs and everything. Roger Cook, but it was compulsive. It was even investigating stuff like, hot dog stands where gangsters were running them, and he pretended to be running a hot dog stand. The next day, these bully boys came along and started beating them up. That was brilliant. Great viewing. That was great viewing. Yogi Bear, John Mitch, he was a breath of fresh air in 1979 and is still a brilliant songwriter. She's been on BBC Two here all night. Go for that. Kate Bush night. John Mitch, I have got porridge on at the moment. Bloody good, good. Ronnie Barker, magnificent. Great comic actor and great comedian. And Richie Beckensdale, of course. Terrific. A number to oversee. It's crazy that the whole new generation of people have been introduced to her music thanks to the show Stranger Things. Good for her. Yeah, absolutely. Dutch Farang. Hi, Eddie in chat. Okay, nice to hear from you. Debbie Harry, McLaren Debbie Harry Blondie is 70. I mean, 70. She's 70. I think she's older than that. Because when Blondie were around, around when he got really, really big, when about 78, she was rumored to be about 32 then. I think she's well older than 70. Okay. Jet Up, Robbie Coltrane and Cracker was good. I never actually got round to seeing that series. But I do like Robbie Coltrane. He plays a great part as the Russian gangster and mafia guy in some of the James Bond movies. Samba guy, last James Bond as a wife and kid, Ian Flynn would have hated. I know, I agree. That's one of the things that I was watching that last James Bond movie, and I've actually seen it twice because they're all worth watching more than once. They are great entertainment. That one isn't. Some people might actually like it because it's a very serious, very dramatic movie, and I think Daniel Craig is great. I think he makes a terrific James Bond. But I must admit, I was watching that No Time to Die, and it got somewhere into the movie, and I thought it's watchable. It's what I'm judging all, and then all of a sudden this kid appears out of nowhere. And I thought, well, what a kid in the. What's a kid doing in the James Bond movies? Never had kids. If you want to see kids, go and watch the bloody, go and watch Disney or something, or even a Spielberg film. But I still can't figure out at the end of that movie, and I watched it twice, whether that kid was supposed to be his or not. I still haven't figured that one out. But yeah, you're quite right. I mean, it's a bit out of place. Gemini Star. Everybody wanted a bit of Kate Bush in the 80s. Absolutely. Broccoli high kicks. Eddie, does your glasses steam up when you take a slash? Not necessarily. It was, it's not that exciting, mate. HW, what week are you flying out to Thailand then? Early November. It's going to be August pretty soon, so it's not far away. Mark says he really liked Jackie Brown. Let's see. TJ Hookerstan, the film star William Shatner. I never watched it. I think I watched a lot of those programs in the 70s, but I didn't watch a great deal in the 80s. Or the night. I think I was doing other things then. I never really watched any episodes of that. Danish Bacon, nice to hear from you, mate. Paul Hoskin, hello to all the Mongerettes, thank you. Ed Sweeney's 20-stone wife back in England. You should know me by now. Do you prefer David Brent or Alan Partridge? Hands down, Alan Partridge. I think Steve Coogan is he's a brilliant comedian and impersonator and a creator of characters. Is Alan Partridge? I've seen some episodes of Alan Partridge, and he's so wet, but you can relate to him in a way, and he is so funny. What is? There's one scene where he's in his hotel room, and he's a fan of wings, and anyone who's a fan of wings is like not exactly a very exciting person. I mean, he was actually a fan of wings in this day and age. What does he do? He goes to his hotel room singing to himself, "Jet, ooh, 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 Jet." Bloody happy in stitches. I think Alan Partridge is absolutely. Steve Coogan is brilliant. Steve Coogan, he hiccuped once in his career. He developed a new character, but he announced to the world that he's got a new creation, and it was a Latino Mr. Love Himself singer, and it even had the record out as well to promote it. And it was heralded, and he promoted it on this variety show. And this is my new creation, and it kind of bombed. It actually cost about $1 million to back this new creation. And people just didn't gel with the audience. But his other cat, Alan Partridge, and of course Paul Carr, the pisshead, he's absolutely wonderful. As for David Brent, not really. It's probably a clever. The thing about Ricky Gervais, I think he's a clever comedian rather than a funny comedian. And I know this sounds dreadful, but do you know something? There are some people you either like or you don't like, and I don't really like him. I don't really like Ricky Gervais. I just don't like him. I mean, it comes across as not the most sincere of people. He's very, very talented, but not really for me. Not really for me. Alan Partridge, Steve Coogan, magnificent. Okay. Cats and good coffee. Nice to hear from you. Nice to hear from you, mate. McLaren F1 race. I'm a good Kojak body double or Vin Diesel. You look like Vin Diesel, man. You look like Vin Diesel. Good for you. Stephen Forex, one of my favorite theme tunes of all time, Randall Hopkirk, Deceased. Sounds like a harpsichord. Yeah, wonderful. They had such memorable theme tunes in them days, didn't they? Randall Hopkirk, the Persuaders. Such memorable theme tunes. Paul Hoskin, I haven't had a lollipop for years. I haven't had a lollipop. Before we forget, I might well be on with this chat. Esam, man, nice to hear from you. This is interesting. Esam, man, Jasper Carrot and Robert Powell. Okay. What was it called? The Detectives? That comedy. It was a half-hour comedy show called The Detectives. Apparently, Jasper Carrot and Robert Powell have been friends for a long time. Robert Powell was a very, very classic actor. If you go back to the early 70s, Robert Howell was in a couple of Amicus and maybe even Hammer horror movies. They had such great actors in them days. People like Tom Baker, Denholm, they were all top quality, as Robert Powell was. He was in a film called Asylum. Really good. But Robert Powell became now this is the story, isn't it? Robert Powell really, really hit the headlines in around about 1977 when he played none other than Jesus of Nazareth. Now, I'm not really into the Sunday school stuff myself, but his playing of Jesus was impeccable. He was just so perfect, and it was a wonderful production, Jesus of Nazareth, and typically it won the hearts of people across the world, and predictably, people predicted that Robert Powell, who's a very talented actor, was going to go on to become a big star. They were overlooking something, weren't they? They were overlooking the typecasting. How do you follow Jesus? How do you put? And and basically, and I think Jasper Carrot even ribbed it because he was his mate. Even ribbed him years later. The man who played Jesus is now playing a detective in a cheap and nasty TV comedy show. But Jasper Carrot, that was a good show there anyway. Anything with Jasper Carrot in is worth seeing. Okay. Let me see. Now, let me see. What's a decent movie as an icon? The Red Berry, another British made movie. Another British made movie. What's the decent movie that I call the Red Berry? Another British made movie. Let's just see, mate. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so let me see now. What else have we got? So anyway, we're about 26 minutes. We found things to talk about anyway. It's Saturday night. I mean, what the hell's happening on Saturday? It's a bit of a dull summer. Where's all this red hot, blazing hot weather? It's been it's okay. It's been nice temperatures here. And there hasn't been much rain, but there's been a bank of cloud as well. It's not exactly very, very exciting right now. So, not exactly the most exciting summer anyway. Let's see, Gary Hughes. So we've worked out tonight that all American cops are from the Dingle, okay? I wouldn't have said that, mate. I wouldn't have said that. That's in Liverpool, ladies, if anyone's wondering. Martin Burchill, William Shatner, Captain James Kirk, Star Trek, Final Frontier. Do you know that? I mean, Star Trek's wonderful, one of the classic TV series of all time. Absolutely amazing. I've never really been a Trekkie myself, but it was fairly amazing. But do you know that actor William Shatner? He's still alive. I think he's in his 90s now. Well, he might be 90, whatever. Didn't he go into space? The old guy in space or something. I was surprised that guy is, because after Star Trek, I seen him on an interview. I think he was on Parkinson in the late 70s. I think that was about 10 years after Star Trek had finished. And that guy looked so unhealthy. He looked like he had a clear alcohol problem. He got the big beer gut, and he didn't look like a healthy man at all. And yet, amazingly, all these years later, he's still alive, isn't he? Good for him, anyway. Good for him. Dutch Ferrang, drink more coffee. Absolutely amazing. Broccoli High Kicks. What's Righteous Kill? Starring De Niro and Pacino. Dreadful. I've never even heard of that. Never even heard of that movie. David Walters, nice to hear from you. Yeah, Pinball's got it. Mike Pratt played Randall. Yeah, you're right. In Randall and Hopkirk, I think everyone remembers Kenneth Coper's name. He was the ghost. But Mike Pratt played such a great part. He, sort of this kind of hand dog, down at heel, private eye. And he had a face like a not very happy face. It kind of lived in sort of face. And he was a fine actor. He played a great part in that series. And really, I'm surprised that he never ever was in anything else, really. I mean, maybe a few bit parts. Paul Hoskins, a boldly go where no Mongo has gone before. Okay. Let's see. Alan Hayes, Mike Pratt, Kenneth Cope, Randall and Up, a great series. Popcorn, Rockford Files are the great Dean tune. Yeah, that was an excellent series. It was a fine actor, wasn't he? Did he die recently, James Garner? Oh no, he might have. No, actually, I think it was a few years ago that he died. Oh, yeah, we like the Rockford Files. Paige just one. How do you keep not getting attached to a bar girl too much? It's probably difficult because some of those girls, especially if you're a newbie out in Thailand or whatever, some of those girls can really, really win you over. They can really, really, really convince you that you're the only one, and they can. And it's so easy to get attached to them. I've been attached to, a few of them, bar girls that I met in Cambodia. I mean, such lovely people, and they're human beings at the end of the day. They're still human beings, aren't they? You have to label a bar girl, but they're still human beings, and they can win you over. And I don't know. You just got to carry the number one rule of life, haven't you? Never trust anyone. Oh well. Up to you. Stuart Marsden, American Cops. You've got to count Colombia. Do you mean Colombo? Do you mean Colombo there? And Nomads Overseas. And nomad overseas, cats and good coffee. Ahoy there. I booked a flight to Manila. Expensive. Well, good for you, mate. Anyway, you know, a lot of expensive flights around anyway, but good for you booking it. Pinball. Kate Bush wrote a song called Hammer Horror, and she did look very, very, you know, very, very lovely in that video. And I've seen that video. Broccoli high kicks. New York in the 1980s. Kate Bush was slang. Kate Bush was slang word for weed. I've never heard that before. In fact, New York in the 1980s. I wasn't aware that she was a well-known name in it. She made it in Britain, but I don't think she. I think it took a long time for her to crack the American mark. I've never heard that before. Let's see, Stuart Marsden, American Cop Shows. You got to count Columbo in there. Yeah, Columbo. And Peter Falk was an amazing actor. Amazing actor. Let's see, Mal, Simon Temple, The Saint. One amazingly charismatic, Roger Moore. Wonderful. I loved it. I love The Saint. You know, the kind of brain dead stuff that you can watch, you know, in the morning time, you know, as you're having your breakfast. Bloody good stuff. And the thing is, he was a bit too old by the time that he got to James Bond, but he was a very, very, very charismatic actor. Wonderful. Absolutely. The thing about Roger Moore is that whether he's in The Saint or whether he's in James Bond, no scenery was ever too big to dwarf him, whether it was mountains or whatever. He had that kind of, you know, on the screen star quality about him. Gemini star Deborah Harry is 77 years old. Really, really? Yeah, that's it. That sounds about right. Sounds about right. Bernard Purcell. I love Dick Emery. So, you are awful. Yeah, bloody good stuff. I think Dick Emery's very, very much one of those forgotten people, isn't he? You know, because everyone remembers the two Ronnies, Morecambe and Wise. You don't remember people like Dick Emery so much, but I used to love his show. Absolutely. Okay. Jay, Etty, my mate is boycotting your channel because you keep praising Nigel Farage. Well, whatever. Okay, whatever. Each to their own. Each to their own, mate. Give him my love anyway. Your mate, I mean, not Nigel Farage. Tom Easton, the legend at Sweden. Thank you. Nice to hear from you. So I'll put that on the screen. Such a good comment. Thank you, Tom Easton. But Clan F1 race, I just looked it up. Jesus Christ, that's Granny Milf. Absolutely, absolutely. Bobby Webber, we're talking about the latest Bond movie. Nice to hear from Bobby. Does a lot of traveling. He does cycling through Italy and south of France and all kinds of places. So Bobby is a real traveler. I think he's in Mexico now. The kid was Bond's, the blue eyes. Yeah. Okay. So James Bond had the kid in that last Bond movie. Still not really what you'd expect from a Bond movie. Harold Batterson, nice to hear from you. Daniel Mills, Eddie, do you remember Electric Blue in the 1980s? Do you know something? I was quite late to getting the video. Everyone had a video before I did, but I got a video, and I was in a video shop. It was the novelty. You know what I'm going to get? You know, what's the movies? Get a video on Electric Blue. And slip on it though. I don't remember that. I remember that because the women were lovely. You know, real women. I don't think they had too many tattoos, and they were nice and hairy as well. And yeah, I used to like that. I used to enjoy that. Harold Batterson, hell yeah. Okay, there you go. Thank you. Gas 77. I hope you well. Just to let you know, I've been watching Pornhub. Well, what were you watching on your mobile phone in Asda as you were bloody robbing the shop blind, were you? Okay, fine. Thank you. Nice to hear from you. Category coffee. A nomad overseas. Nice. But it business me like McCarthy. I'm not quite sure what that's about. A nomad overseas. Ed, have you ever heard about the World War II exploits of Christopher Lee? think he was related to Ian Fleming, and some of the stuff he did inspired the character. Not 100%. I read about that. Apparently, yeah, apparently he had. I did read. I can't remember a lot of the details, but Christopher Lee had a very, very colourful life, very colourful, and and even apparently even had hit records later. He was on rock albums, wasn't he? Later on in his life that got into the charts. He had a variety of, very varied life. Wonderful. Esam, man, Margaret Rutherford is Miss Mark. I never really watched her. I know she was bloody good. I know she was good. Let me see. Yeah, what have we got now? Oh, yeah, here we go. Here's one. Can we block this pill? Ed has run out of ideas. Yeah, we'll show him on the screen before we block him. There you go. Ed has run out of ideas. Okay, there we go. Okay, he'll probably come back as something else later. I'm just gonna grab the rest of that there. Oh, this is lovely. Oh, lovely stuff. Cronenberg 66. Oh, get in there. Lovely stuff. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So how is everybody on this Saturday night anyway? It's just 3 months before I travel. So this is not a travel channel, so we don't want to talk too much about that. But yeah, it's too much about that. But 3 months, I'm still not sure personally what I'm going to do for the next 3 months, whether to do a bit of work or whatever. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back out to Thailand and other places as well this autumn time. What is that one? Paul Hoskin, Every Which Way But Loose. Do you know something? I thought, what is happening there? When I first heard about that movie, I think it was advertised on the Barry Norman show. Clint was, I was a huge Clint fan. I loved from the spaghetti westerns to the Dirty Harrys and the early 70s western, the Outlaw Josie Wales. And I actually thought as soon as that film appeared, Every Which Way But Loose, but he plays the bare knuckle street fighter with his pet orangutan. I actually thought, what is Clint doing? I think he's going downhill here. But then apparently, a lot of people love that movie. A lot of people, in fact, I think I'm right in saying that was his most successful movie in Britain at the time. Simply because a lot of people who didn't normally watch Clint Eastwood's movies liked that one. But I actually think the sequel, Any Which Way You Can, was better than that. That orangutan sort of grows on you. Let me see. Pinball, Tony Farino was the singing character Coogan created. Yeah, apparently it was apparently it was about £1 million spent creating that character, including the record deal and all kinds, and it just bombed. But he's still a great talent. And No Matter Overseas, Steve Coogan was surprisingly good in that Laurel and Hardy film. That's an excellent movie. I think is it called Stan and Ollie? You can get it, and if you've never seen that movie, it's well worth a watch. Very, very good movie there. And No Matter Overseas, Catching Up Coffee. Yeah, I've been there before. Manila is good, but after about a week, it starts wearing on you. Manila, I like Manila. I like when I went there. Last I did Manila. There's a lot of good things about that place. Daniel Kelly, Avenues and Alleyways. That was it was a series, quite not a very well known. I think it was a European production. It had Robert Vaughn in it. Nairi Dawn Porter, I believe, was in it. Lovely woman, and a couple of other actors I can't remember. But the best thing about it, I think, was the theme tune. Tony Christie singing "Avenues and Alleyways." Absolutely, I've actually done a karaoke that one. Absolutely one. In the avenues and alleyways, where the soul of a man is easy to hide. Absolutely magnificent. I'll tell you what. Yeah, what if you had a wish? What would you wish for? You just I found one thing. I'd love to be able to sing like Tony Christie. Oh God, that man's got a marvelous way. He doesn't have the most charismatic look about him. He's no Tom Jones in that department, but Tony Christie. Wow, what a marvelous voice. Anyway, absolutely marvelous. Ty Billy Boy, Rising Champ at Rigby was great, and say, oh yeah, absolutely. Leonard's roster, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Who's this? What is it? Mal, somebody block this knobhead, please. Is that the knobhead that I think I've just blocked? And Norman overseas, think Robert Powell was in the ass fit. He was. That scared the bejesus out of me when I was. I actually watched that a couple of years back. You can actually get that. The ass fit is about grabbing someone's soul before they die and all. And that fine actor Robert Stevens was in it as well. Good movie, that good horror movie. Nick Ross, The Third Man, Detective with Michael Rennie. The Third Man, the only Third Man I know is that marvelous classic movie with that marvelous classic movie with Orson Welles and Joseph Cotton in. Absolutely wonderful. It was directed by the wonderful Carol Reed. It was the uncle of Oliver Reed. If you don't know. Absolutely, Third Man, one of the greatest movies. Michael Rennie, I don't know. I've heard of that actor, but I don't know what relation he has to that film. Live YouTube evening. What's the script with Lauer? Do you think you'll include it in the upcoming Southeast Asia trip? It's a possibility. Yeah. Well, I'm out there for 4 months. That's the plan, and I like traveling around places without getting flights. So all the places are doable. I mean, maybe the idea is starting off in Thailand, Pattaya, Bangkok, heading over to Siam Reap, then heading to. Assuming the borderland crossings are all up and running, then heading to other, through Cambodia and then into Laos and then back into northern Thailand at the end. Let's see what happens anyway. See what happens. Well, it's quite a long way off this, yeah. Let's see. Red's wine, yes, that's bloody good value. King Knight. Yeah, there you go. Somebody likes Nigel Farage. Eastern man, Robert Powell married Babs from Pan's People. But Jesus, I didn't know that. I didn't know they were sexy chicks. Pan's People. I mean, they danced on top of the pops, didn't they? And they had proper womanly bits with no tattoos and lovely stuff. And they were probably hairy as well. Landismiles Travels, even though he had surgery, Shatner looks good for his age. His mind is still as sharp as ever. Absolutely. He keeps going, doesn't he? Oh, well, I'm just going to post this one. I'm not going to read it out. I'm going to let other people read it out because we don't want to go down this road. But we don't want any of that. Let's see, Yogi Bear Spender with Jimmy Naylor was a good series. I never actually seen that. I think he was in a few, wasn't he? Crocodile Shoes. Okay, I'm gonna waffle. Let's see. Who's that? Inspector Well, that's Dirty Harry. That's the wonderful Clint. Marvelous. A great, absolute. Oh, I mean, you can't even put into words how wonderful the Dirty Harry series and Clint playing it was. Absolutely amazing. And Nomads Overseas, Ed, I mentioned before, you should look up Rachel Grant. She used to present a horror show on Sci-Fi Channel. She was also a Bond girl. She's half Asian stunner with massive hoppers. It sounds like it's worth investigating. Gaz 77, he likes Susan Boyle. Barry from EastEnders, Ignore Troll. Probably lives with his mum. You rock. I think I'm behind the chat, but I think about it deleted it. This is a very, very laid back chat. We'll talk about a few other things. There's a few other little issues. There's a couple of movie reviews coming up. I mean, what's worth watching on Netflix or Amazon? So a couple of those coming up, and we'll talk about it. A legendary scandal as well. Thanks for that super chat, anyway, Barry. Pinball. And what's a strange sex with last night on Talking Pictures called A Candle for the Devil? It was dubbed, but Judy Geeson was in it. I haven't seen it, no, but I wouldn't mind to. She was lovely, yeah, lovely stuff. Sounds right up my street. Heike Van, they've been airing Bud Spencer and Terence Hill movies all week in the Netherlands. Really? They're really, really over the top. Bud Spencer, I think you either love them or don't love them. I haven't seen these in probably 30 years. Loved every second of it. I haven't watched too many of those. I think you really need a few of these, Danny, before you watch. But yeah, Terence Hill, Bud Spencer. Some people actually love those movies. Ed Sweeney, 20 Stone White, back in England. Would you shag Pretty Patel? Only if you join in Honey Bunch. I wouldn't mind the sandwich with that one. Richest rich. Nigel Farage is only hated by lefties. He would be the best PM for UK since Churchill, 100%. You said that, not me. You said that, not me. Nigel Farage, I didn't used to like him. In fact, I used to think of Nigel Farage as Nigel Facade, because some of his, there was something shady about him. When he was campaigning for Brexit, I don't want to go too much because it gets on people's nerves. But some of the bombastic language that he used when he was campaigning for breakfast. No, not when he was campaigning for breakfast. When he was campaigning for Brexit. Some of the bombastic. I remember he was on one pro like Question Time, and he used phrases like, "Before you know it, we're going to have 70 million Turks heading this way." Excuse me, there's only 70 million people in Turkey, and they're not all. You're not going to get 70 million of them. So don't be saying you're going to get 70 million Turks heading this way. We're not. Some of the language he uses is a bit bombastic, but I think he speaks his mind anyway. And in this, just come on, let's be realistic. Look at Nigel Farage. I watch him on his YouTube channel. I watch him on GM, whatever it is, GM News, and he's so articulate. He's not afraid to speak his mind. He was the one who predicted with that farce regarding the Rwanda and sending all the migrants on a plane. He was the one who predicted it. It's doomed to failure simply because someone's going to pull the Human Rights Act out of the closet and all that. And of course, he was dead right. And but you like Nigel Farage? I like Nigel Farage as well. That's our choice. That is our choice. Okay. Esan, man, Clint only ever plays Clint. Yeah, but it's not a bad one to play. Clint playing Clint is bloody good, whichever he does. Ty Billy Boy, Eddie, do you remember the series Blue Detective series? Lucky Grills, I think his name was, a smoking big overweight bloke who ran for miles chasing criminals and never got out of bed. Yeah, he was a cult, wasn't it? I did say cult. He was a cult figure, an Australian detective, and some of the stuff, the production was absolutely. It was so bad, it was funny. I mean, what does someone say? You see him driving his car with a t-shirt on. He gets out of his car wearing the polo neck jumper. He runs down the street wearing the blue suit. It was like the Australian version of Cannon, but he looked like a really, I think he was a wrestler, wasn't he? He looked like a very, very rough character. Very, very rough character. But it was a bit of a cold series, that one. Bloody good fun. Really. I know some people absolutely loved that. Love Bluey. Richest Rich. Eddie, what would you want to play in a movie? I don't care what it is, as long as it's opposite Anissa Kate. As long as it involves Anissa Kate, I don't care. McLaren F1, thank you for that super chat. Thank you for that super chat. Can I moderate your chat? I'm not actually going to be doing moderators just yet. I mean, if ever I have a moderator, it will be on this one, on this channel, not the other channel. Because the thing is, some of the knobhead trolls that come on, I know that they're a pain in the ass, but they're funny. At the last live stream that I'd done, there was tons of trolls and disruption and all that. A couple of people messaged me the other day, said that was bloody funny. That was it. You take a lot of them out of it, and it's not as much fun. But thanks for the offer anyway, and thanks for that super chat, mate. Thanks for that super chat. Daniel Mills, I used to like Tales of the Unexpected. I did as well. Rolled out, bloody good stuff. Gaz77, I wonder what Boris Johnson is up to tonight. Who cares? Who bloody cares, mate? Yogi Bear, Christopher Lee. The biggest hit he was on was Michael Jackson's Thriller. I think actually you mean Vincent Price. I think you're talking about Vincent Price there. He was on Michael Jackson's Thriller. Vincent Price, the horror king. He used to scare the life out of me. All those movies that stayed up late at night scared the life out of me. And then I came home from school one day, and there was Vincent Price on a cookery program. It kind of killed it for me. Roman Golan, nice to hear from you. Yogi Bear, it was Vincent Price. That's it. Category. The movie Metro Manila is good. If you're not seeing it, a bit dramatic, but also good action and interesting to know better how things work over there. Okay, thanks for that recommendation. Tampa Guy 35, Dominican playboy and socialite. Porfirio Robiosa was the main inspiration for Ian Fleming's James Bond. Really? He was married to two of the richest women in the world. So he was a bigamist? Amazing real life. He was married to two of the richest women in the world, a greedy bastard. How many can be married to? But good for them anyway. Nick Ross, The Third Man is a TV series which ran from 1959 to 1965. It was based on the novel and filmed The Third Man and starred Michael Rennie as Harry Lime. Lime is now an international private investigator. I wasn't aware of that TV series, really. I only know of the film, but thanks for that info anyway. There we go. El Terrifico, I'm late. Well, what did I miss? Not much, but nice to hear from you, mate, anyway. It's a very, very laid-back Saturday night. In terms of travel, there's not a great deal going on right now. That's it. So everyone knows. We've already talked about, the cost of airfares and whatever. And I still think that, some people are a bit misguided when they're saying, all the airfares are double or triple the price. No, they're not. You can still get some good deals out there. I've got a flight booked to from London to Bangkok, a direct flight with a very reputable airline. That's a return ticket, economy, and that is including the insurance and the baggage. That is £770 return, which is not brilliant, but it's not that bad either. So there are good deals out there. Yeah, Lao is up to Swanee at the moment, as far as I know. Lao currency lost 25% of its value recently, and people in Lao go to Thailand to buy gasoline because, I did hear about that. Yeah, I have seen. It's still a very unknown country, that one, dark and not very well known country, that one. I've been there a few years ago, and it was all right, but it wasn't one of my favourites. But I have heard that they are in terrible economic problems right now. Gas77, I'm in need of a girlfriend. I'll make a great boyfriend, so I get free petrol and food, and I can also get free makeup for you. I would make a great father. I would teach the kid as well. Okay, Good for you, mate. Anyway, you'll teach the kid to dress up as a woman and rob out of Asda. Yeah, okay, fine. Ed, Ed, Vietnam is definitely worth a visit if you've not been there before. Also, I will say, bring a travel knife and fork with you if you're not the best with chopsticks. I've been to Vietnam many times. I've traveled right through Vietnam. Wonderful country. Yeah, I tried once I tried once to eat with chopsticks, and all the Vietnamese people fell about laughing. Donkeypox is the only real disease to our world. Hey, so with donkey one, God Almighty. And no one I asked for a knife before about 7 different restaurants. They all looked at me as if I just kicked their dog. Oh well. Life Utopia. Ed, what's your favorite takeaway choice, Chinese or Indian? And well, I know a lot more about Chinese. I mean, I love a nice Chinese. I love a nice Chinese whatever. Beef. Well, I love a nice, curry. But I also like a nice chow mein. Oh my God Almighty! Oh my God Almighty! Here we go. Lisa Dale is here. Wow, you're all talking about something other than sex tourism. It's a medical. Okay, nice to have you along, Lisa. Nice to have you along. Well, Lisa. I think I've uncovered something about you, Lisa. I think I've uncovered something about you, Lisa. Is this you? Is it? Is this you, Lisa? Is that you, Lisa? Is that you? Is that you? Is it, Lisa? Oh, like nice little holiday snap there. You know, that's Lisa Dale, ladies and gentlemen, on the holiday. Got a nice little photograph of it there. Anyway, wow, you look happy there, Lisa, don't you? There, hugging your Gambian toy boy. Yes, yeah. Nudge, nudge. Wink, wink. Say no more. Good for you, Lisa. Anyway, happy holidays to you. Happy holidays. Let me see now. Okay, where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we now? Happy holidays, Lisa. And hope you enjoy that big Gambian sausage. Okay. So, where are we now? Paul Hoskin, Lisa, how are you? He likes you. Nick Ross, Lisa, yeah, miracles do happen. Okay. Now, what are we going to do here? Your travels, Germany have banned all public buildings, swimming pools, and gyms from having hot water. They have no gas. We're all knackered. Cats and Good Coffee, thank you for that super chat, €2. Lisa Dale loves Garn and Longones and Turkish Durham. Okay. Paul Hoskin, I would like to mow Lisa's lawn. Okay. Okay, William, Eddie, your knowledge of movies and TV series is incredible. That's because I've led a sad life. I really enjoy listening to you and you make me laugh out loud. Thank you for that anyway. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Okay, so basically what we're going to do now, I'm gonna just get through it. Let's Stephen Forex, but you know the Granby, yeah, I heard all about that, yeah, the Granby, that's where they like going, isn't it? Okay, squeaky door time, and then gonna do a couple of little items anyway, a little bit of a entertaining stuff. Okay, here we go. What time for a lovely lamb's navy? Why the hell not? Why the hell not? Oh, lovely stuff, beautiful. Okay, so what we're going to talk about now? Just catch up with the comments. Who's this? Yourselves. To be fair to Lisa, you were doing exactly same as Ed. I think you and Lisa would make a crack and go, I think we're made for each other, aren't we? Gemini style. Lisa's a regular. We've got to give it a round of applause. Okay, I give it a round of applause now because my arm is okay. I am Tilt. Very squeaky door tonight. Okay, fine, thank you. Paul Hoskin, he likes you, Lisa. If I saw Lisa in the bar, I'd buy her a drink. Okay, got a fan there. Cats and Good Coffee. What is the favourite band of the Jehovah's Witnesses? The Doors. Okay, yeah, I'm with you. Nick Ross, they call being in Bangkok and not allowed out of the Nanari hotel as the army had closed everything down and tanks. Oh, that sounds really dreadful. David R, nice to hear from you, David R. Okay. Oh, my wife's here, Lisa. She can't catch me flirting with Ed Sweeney's 20-stone wife. Lisa, stay away from Ed. He's mine. No. Okay. So listen. What we're going to do now is we've talked about movies. We may as well continue with the movies theme. There's not much to talk about travel right now at this moment in time. So because this is not necessarily a travel channel, and we'll talk about a couple of other things. Now, like me, if you have Netflix or Amazon, then I said this the other day, but you ever find that you want to settle down for a nice movie, and then you look through, what Netflix or Amazon got to, and before you know, a half an hour has passed, and you still can't make your bloody mind up what you're going to watch. The reason for this is that there's some really disappointing. So there's nothing worse than sitting down for 2 hours expecting a lot from a movie, and then it turns out to be a disappointment, because that's 2 hours of your life that's wasted. You don't want to be disappointed. So one of the things here that we like to do is maybe do a couple of movie reviews and recommend, what's pretty good to watch on Amazon. And I'm picking out a couple of movies on Netflix. One of them, I think it might be on Amazon nowadays. But this movie is well worth a watch. Absolutely extremely worth a watch. Both of these movies I'm reviewing, by the way, are actually quite similar. They're not new movies. They've been out for a few years now. Quite similar in that they are both what you call modern day Western. They're set in the modern era, but in sort of Midwestern towns, with sheriffs and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, but a lot of people will know this movie because it is a highly rated movie, but it's worth talking about. No Country for Old Men. Okay, now this is one of the Coen brothers movies, Joel and Ethan Coen. Joel and Ethan Coen, who were very, very talented filmmakers. They made some great stuff. Their movies are very punchy and very, obviously quite often very brutal. There's a wonderful movie from I think the 90s called Miller's Crossing. That is a very fine gangster movie with Albert Finney in it. Probably one of the best known movies is the original Fargo, which is a terrific movie set in Minnesota. Wonderful movie. But this film here, No Country for Old Men, is it's a violent thriller, as a lot of the Coen brothers are, but it is damn good. It stars Tommy Lee Jones. It was never ever delivers a bad performance, good or bad. He's always worth watching. Superb actor. He plays the sheriff. The good guy, or the guy who they've got. Have you seen this photo? They've got the names mixed up, but the guy there, I think he's called Josh Brolin. Basically, what it is, it's about it's set in the Midwest somewhere, a small sleepy town, and Tommy Lee Jones is the sheriff. A guy called Javier Bardem plays a great part. He's a very, very frightening villain. And basically, it's about a bungle robbery. Some stolen loot ends up in the hands of this guy played by Josh Brolin. And then, he opens the suitcase and, he sees that there's lots of money. And then he thinks, what the hell? I'm going to go on the run with it. Little known that, there's gangsters who are chasing this money. And it all gets very, very brutal, but it's totally watchable movie. There's a picture of Tommy Lee Jones, superb actor, absolutely great. Now, he plays obviously the sheriff. It's this guy here plays the guy who stumbles across the money and decides to keep it. And it's like a cat and mouse. You've got this really, really dreadful, vicious, brutal guy. Javier Bardem. It was chasing him, and I think he used a tracking device in order to find a way. It's very, very tense, this movie, and very brutal. Javier Bardem, I think I'm right in saying he actually won an Oscar for this movie because he is a Spanish actor, but he plays such a really great part, and it's just such a great movie. The Coen Brothers, anything that the Coen Brothers is really, really worth watching. No Country for Old Men is a superb movie. Anyone seen this? Nick Ross, Javier Bardem, great actor. Yeah, he's really chilling, really, really chilling. Stephen Fordex, the coin toss scene is incredible. Javier is so menacing, so many. We'll talk about the ending of this movie in a moment. Nick Ross, No Country for Old Men, great movie. McClam F1 race, despite you shag me is topical. Okay, thanks for that. Take care, the chat. UFC is on now. See you, filthy animals. Okay, cheers, Kipax. Thanks for coming on. Cats and Good Coffee. Is that movie Bardem has a weird hair? He does have a weird haircut, but he comes across the kind of guy you wouldn't tell him that he's got. I mean, you wouldn't go to him and say, you got a bit of a weird haircut, mate. He'd shoot you. He does play a very, very menacing, very ruthless villain. Plays a lot of. What I found about some villains that become a little bit one-dimensional, but he actually, I think he is quite one-dimensional, but he plays that one dimension in such a great way. Okay, Lost Travels. No Country for Old Men is based on a McCormack McCarthy novel. Great writer, an excellent film, absolutely. I Am Tilt, call it Heads or Tails. Yeah, it's such a good movie. I've watched this film twice, and if you haven't seen it, I would exhort you to see it. So one thing that is to be mentioned about this movie, and obviously I'm not gonna give it away. I'm not going to give this away, but one thing to mention about this movie is the ending, because the ending is quite controversial, really. Now, obviously, I'm not going to tell you what happens at the end of this movie. Also, I will say it's a really quite a strange ending, and it ends quite suddenly. It ends quite suddenly, really. And when the film ends, you might think, "What happened there? What the hell happened there?" But what it is basically, it's people have debated the end, and even Tommy Lee Jones has debated what is the ending of this movie, what is the point that it's making in the very, very strange ending of this film, which won't be to everyone's taste. If you've enjoyed the movie and then all of a sudden it ends quite so, you think, what happened there? But I think the second time you see this movie, you understand the point. There's all kinds of debates about what the message is at the end of this movie, No Country for Old Men. I think the point that it makes is that, is that good guys don't necessarily win, and bad guys don't necessarily get caught and brought to justice. And whatever happens, life goes on and crime goes on, and one criminal is going to be replaced by another criminal, and it just goes on. I mean, I see the documentary once about where an American cop was interviewed, and he used the phrase, about violent crime, you're just shoveling shit against the tide. And I think really this is the point that's being made at the end of this film. Tommy Lee Jones delivers this speech, and it may seem a little bit obscure, but I think that's the message, really. Violent crime is just going to go on. You're never, ever going to solve it. One violent criminal is going to be replaced by another. You may think I'm wrong, but No Country for Old Men, if you've never seen it, if you've never, ever seen it, Go and watch it. Watch anything the Coen brothers. It's a couple of great filmmakers. Okay, let's see now. Let's see. Okay. David, I saw it after it war. It won the Oscar. Good, good. Nick Ross, have you seen Barnum and Goya's Gold? I don't think I have. I think I did glimpse of it in another movie. Roy Gold, The Taking of Pelham 123 is also a great film. No Country for Old Man is one of my favorite films ever. Yeah, so if you're looking for something, if you've never seen this movie, if you're looking for something late at night, if you haven't seen that film, and you know you're looking what to watch, go watch it. 2 hours, well worth a look. Nick Ross, that movie is deeply disturbing. Yeah, absolutely. I go along with that. Let me see. Now, let me see. What have we watched? What have we got here? What have we got here? What have we got here? Okay. Okay, there's a little bit of bickering. There's a little bit of bickering. Let me see. There's a little bit of bickering in the chat. I'm not going to repeat it. Okay. Lamb's Davy rum, lovely stuff. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, somebody put, David R. But how about the Joker? I watched that movie, The Joker. It came out a few years. I did watch it. But I must admit, it's a slow burner, but it does win you over eventually. You need to be patient with that movie. I must admit, I got about 20 minutes in that movie, and I almost switched it off because I thought, this is laborious. It's simply because it wasn't really entertaining with me. But the more I got into that movie, the more it gets better as it goes on. So that is where the look that is. Lost Travels, Bardem is also good, and Vicky Cristina, Barcelona. If you're into Woody Allen films, I like Woody Allen when he did funny comedy. Nowadays he does clever comedy. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see that. Okay, absolutely. Keep your script. Okay, who's that? Yeah, let's see. Cats and Go Coffee. Eddie, you have to watch Cesario, one of the best action movies ever. Have I seen that? I might have seen it. I can't remember it. I think I have heard that name. I'll take it, counter that name. Okay, so the next movie, if you're looking at what to watch. No Country for Old Men, by the way. I think I've seen it on Netflix, but then it turned them on Amazon. So it's on one of those channels. You can get it. But another movie that is I watched last night that I've never really watched before, funnily enough. In fact, I've never, and it is one of those movies that I would say is actually underrated, and I wouldn't say that about men. This is another Midwestern movie, with a modern day Western with a sheriff, with a sheriff in in a town, and it doesn't have the artistic quality of No Country for Old Men, but it's still a bloody good action movie. And this movie is The Last Stand. Now, I watched this movie last night. It's a two-hour film, and I like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I like him in his comic book sort of stuff, Terminator. I like all that kind of stuff. And the wonderful Total Recall, which is one of the best films that he'd done. But I switched on this where he plays a sheriff. He's getting on a bit. This film was made less than 10 years ago, so Arnie is clearly getting on a bit there. He's not the the massive muscle man that he once was, and he plays a sheriff of a Midwestern a town that's close to the border with Mexico. Forget the name of the town now. It's not important. It's a tiny little town with a population. Now he's got a history of being He-Man, Secret Service, or whatever he was. But I watched this movie and I thought I'll give it a chance. I haven't heard really anything about this film before, but I like Arnold Schwarzenegger, so I switched it on. And the first 15 minutes I thought was really, really quite slow. And I thought, is this a good movie? Has ever made a wise decision watching this movie? But then all of a sudden, the action switches to this, this this Mexican drugs cartel leader in prison. This psycho villain. It was it escapes from prison and it becomes a chase movie. And basically, once the action gets going, it really does get going, and it is a very good movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not an Arnold movie. He is the star, but it is not really essentially an Arnold movie. I think the star of the film, the film itself is the star. It is a big budget, no holds barred action movie, and it is very well done. It's made by a Korean filmmaker. Can't remember his name, but amongst the reviews of this movie, what I did notice, none of them mentioned what I thought about this movie. I actually think it's borrowed a lot from High Noon, because basically this in Las Vegas, this this gang leader, this psycho's been sprung from jail by all of these villains, and it all gets very explosive. There's helicopters, there's car chases, there's a whole lot of it. But in this little sleepy town, Arnold knows that these villains are heading his way. And this is the classic High Noon kind of scenario. This little sleepy town. So he kind of gathers a motley crew with machine guns and whatever, and they prepare for the big onslaught. It's a bit of a brain dead movie. It's a bit brain dead. Some of the actors in it quite lightly, but I liked it. I thought it's a really good movie. Where are we again? We'll remove that a minute. So anyway, what do you think about this movie? Yours Travels says The Last Stand is absolute rubbish. No, well, you're entitled to your opinion, but I liked it. I actually think it was actually a lot better film than what I expected. It's not a thought-provoking film like the one that we previously discussed. This is purely an action movie, but I think it's one of the better ones that I've seen. Let's see. Nomad Overseas. Where is the movie set? Why has he got a Vickers gun? It's set in the modern day, but one of his motley crew is an arms dealer who he recruits to help him out, because they've only got a handful of people who are going to go to war with these, villains who've got their own little private army, and they're heading this way to this small sleepy town. So he has one of those huge machine guns, because one of the characters who helps him, he owns it. It's that's like it's one of those old machine guns from the war, but whatever. And they bring it into the action, so that's the answer to that one. Okay, Paul Hoskin, Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon. Yeah, are you ready for this? Hi! Okay, there you go. There's my Bruce Lee impersonation. Sorry if I burst anyone's eardrums. Mike Evans, hi Eddie, I'm all booked for Thailand in November. So am I. Good for you, mate. Anyway. Who's this? Yeah, Sweaty Cop. Director Ji Woon Kim. Yeah, I think it's a Korean film. Actually, I think it was his first film, but I think it's a very well-made movie. I mean, the character played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's not an over-the-top action, even though he's the guy he's going to win out at the end. Arnold can't lose obviously, but he plays the character in a kind of sympathetic way. He's not the obvious, steroid monster, and he plays a really good. But it's not essentially an Arnold movie. It's not like Terminator, whatever. But the star of the movie is his film, but it's a film which features Arnold Schwarzenegger, basically, and I think he plays a good part. Yours Travels, Cesario, Day of the Salado. I don't have heard of that one. I'm trying to check it out. And Nomad Overseas. Have you seen the modern remake of 310 to Yuma? Yeah, I've seen that a few years ago. A Western. Bloody good stuff there. Bloody good stuff. Sweaty Cap. The idea of Arnold Schwarzenegger as a small town sheriff is ludicrous, but then that's the whole point of this new movie. It's dumb fun, emphasis on the dumb. Yeah, it does. But it's action packed. It has car chases. It has a beautiful, high tech Corvette. Some of the action is a little teensy, unbelievable, a bit far fetched, over the top. But the idea that all of these vicious villains, a very violent movie, vicious villains are heading towards this sleepy town where the sheriff is going to stand his ground. I mean, that is the classic High Noon story. And I think they do it really, really well. It's really, really well. Wayne, I'm shaving Ryan's private as a part. Okay, fine, thank you. Paul asking, Arnie must find it difficult in economy. I think he's got plenty of money. Roy Gold, Gene Hackman is 92 years old, same age as Clint. Don't think he was ever in a bad film. An incredible actor, really, really fun. I love Gene Hackman as well. Nick Ross, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is a psychological thriller novel by Swedish author and journalist Stieg Larsson. It was published posthumously in 2005, translated into English in 2008. I've seen that film. I think it's the Swedish version that I've seen, and it is bloody good, entertaining stuff. Soul Jacket, Old Boy, original Korean version. Is that what it is? Ross, big upset. Thanks for the Saturday Night Live. Okay, thank you as well. Let's see. Category Coffee. Those little Bangkok. There's a recent movie called One Night in Bangkok, which is not very good, but it's entertaining and shows Bangkok. One Night in Bangkok. I'd be, by the time I'd bloody sleep in me first night. That'd be no good to me. That's interesting. Up to me, Warriors and The Wanderers, good movies back in the day. They were about gang violence. I think that film, The Warriors, which was directed by Walter Hill, really, really was very controversial, very stylish movie. But that second movie that you mentioned, The Wanderers, I think that was actually a better film there, because I think it had a better director. And it was Philip Kaufman, who also made the excellent remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And that was a really, really watchable movie. That great soundtrack to it as well. McLaren F1 race, even though Arnie was the state governor of California after a dumb fun mayor of a small town. What a way. Yeah, he was just the governor of California. He's done some things, hasn't he? He's made a success out of his life. He's had a colourful life, Arnie. You can't take that away from him. Did you know that Arnie was in he was in a Hercules movie? I think it was around about 1970. Because he's been around. He was in bodybuilding competitions in the late 60s. And he played Hercules in New York. You know, Hercules comes to New York. Unbelievable. And I think he went under the name of Arnold Strong. It's weird movie that, but it's well worth a look. Yours Travels, Takers was a cracking movie. What was it? Bastille Day that he was in? That was a bloody good movie. Soul Jacket, my two favorite movies, Shawshank Redemption. The one is I think Shawshank Redemption. A lot of people rate that highly as their best favorite movie of all time. I liked it, but I couldn't watch it again because I'm not a big fan of prison dramas. To be honest with you, not really a big fan of prison dramas. Okay. So I'll tell you what, we talked about movies. No Country for Old Men. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. The Last Stand, not to everybody's taste, but I really, really, really liked it. And if you like an action movie, a really good quality action movie, a little bit far-fetched in some ways, but still a little bit light-hearted, but it's still well worth a look. Check it out. The Last Stand with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Excellent movie, okay? So, to end this one, waffled on for an hour and 26 minutes. It's Saturday night. It's July. There's not really a great deal happening right now. It's very dull time of year, really. I think it is. I'm waiting for my. I'm waiting for November so I can start having a bit of fun in Thailand again. Okay, so before I go, let's do another episode, one final one, an episode of Scandals, okay? So Scandals Scandals all around, but they're nothing new anyway. They're absolutely nothing new. An episode of the scandals. Now, I like the old news stories. I like news stories, that were brought up. I like movies that was brought up on music and whatever that was brought up. But I also like some of the classic news stories. Some of those old stories that were always in the news. This one goes back to the 90s, and it's worth noting, really. This one, it's worth because it's the wider implications of it are really worth noting. Okay. So let me just get that out the way with. Okay. So let's just put it this way about this news story, right? If you had a girlfriend that look like that, okay, yes. Let's imagine that you were him and she was your girlfriend. Why would you go and risk doing something illegal and getting arrested to get a bit of, to get a bit of a, a BJ from somebody who looks like this? I mean, why would you do that? This was the story in the mid 1990s of Hugh Grant. He'd been in that, that film. What was it? That nauseating, smarmy movie, 4 Weddings and a Funeral. I mean, he had the most gorgeous girlfriend, Liz Haley, absolutely, and he was tipped to become a big star. And he was the talk of everybody at the time. He'd been in this very, very successful movie. He had a gorgeous girlfriend. I mean, when you got a gorgeous girlfriend like that, why would you go cruising down Hollywood Boulevard to go and get a bit of a, to go and get a bit of a BJ from somebody who looks like that, a dirty old trollop like that? What was that guy thinking? I mean, what was that all about? Anyone? Let's have a little look at the. Let's see. Okay. Blow it. Okay, so is it Roswell Tower? Grant was, yeah. He had a gorgeous girlfriend. Didn't he? If you got a beautiful girlfriend like that, why do you want to stray with a dirty, horrible old trollop like that? Damon, she looks lovely. I think you're talking about Liz earlier there, not the other bloody thing. Nice to hear from you, Damon, by the way. Yeah, Stephen Forex. It did wonders for his career. He did the US talk show scene, right? Did it do anything for his career? Do you think that was a setup? Do you think that was because obviously he was this middle class, very probably upper class, upper middle class, whatever. And this film, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, it obviously appealed to a more highbrow audience. I mean, I didn't like it. I didn't like it, but other people did anyway. And maybe was this to roughen them up, like having a night out with the Rolling Stones or something like that. But I don't know. McLaren F1 race. Liz Haley had a manor house not far from my factory in Hertfordshire. Absolutely, absolutely gorgeous woman. Yeah, Nick Ross. Does Nick Ross have the answer? She never gave Grant's head. Street girls are fabulous, and second Haley is English, and English chicks are used to. All right, whatever. But you can say what you want, Nick. You don't have to sugarcoat it over. Nick Ross, the same as asking why do all. Okay, we've had that one anyway. We've had that one. Let's see. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm not going to put Nick Ross's comments on the screen anyway. I'm not going to put Nick Ross's comments on the screen, but thanks for that comment anyway. Okay, let's see. So this is a picture. I mean, this is a picture of Liz Haley. Gorgeous one. Even now, as she's getting on a bit, absolutely gorgeous one. Beautiful body. I mean, didn't he get on the stage with her in Hollywood? And didn't Joan Rivers say to Liz Haley, "Who are you?" Notoriously, and she was the face of Estee Lauder or whatever. But she's a gorgeous woman, very, very, really absolutely sensational, very, very upper class. But what I thought was quite funny, I mean, there was a scene, wasn't there, where she was going to this awards with Hugh Grant, and he was, after this incident that took place, and he was smiling, and he had a big smile, and she just wasn't smiling at all. And she was asked in this interview, you weren't smiling. Were you really deeply unhappy? And she said, yeah, I was miserable as sin. But she actually said, when she was asked, how did her family take all of this? And Liz Haley said, my father said that he should be horsewhipped. Well, maybe he wanted to be horsewhipped, but he just didn't have enough money on him at the time. Okay, so gorgeous woman, Liz Haley. I mean, why the hell, if you had a woman, it's like, didn't Paul Newman say, why he never plays away? I mean, why go out for a hamburger when I have steak at home? I mean, Hugh Grant clearly had a bit of steak at home. Maybe she didn't like, do the old, the BJ stuff very well. But absolutely good. I don't know. It's a funny old world, isn't it? Stephen Fordex, he played Dutch on TV just like his awkward posh boy act. The Americans love all of that. Yeah, okay, fine. Cat's a good coffee, Ed, for the same reason that you go to Thailand and you love your 20-stone white back in England. Well, yeah, but I'll tell you what. I don't think I bloody go out of my way for the trollop who looks like that. What a bloody, oh my God, oh my God. What? Oh, Jesus, no thanks. No thanks. No thank you. Dickie B, nice to hear from you, Dickie B. Nice to hear from you. Damon, maybe he was on the source. We have all been there. Absolutely. Nick Ross, Eddie, you love hairy snacks. Go to Mexico or India. Oh, okay. I've been to both of those places, funnily enough. Gemini Star, Elizabeth Haley, 57 years old. Well, not at that time, but she's a gorgeous woman, absolutely gorgeous. Stephen Forrest, I always remember her getting her baps out in Sharp. Really, I didn't know that. No, she ever got her baps out. Lovely, beautiful woman. She looked lovely in the remake of Bedazzled. It was an old movie with Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, 60s comedy. But I think it was in Bedazzled. And she was also in the what do we call it? Austin Powers movies as well. Oh, lovely, lovely stuff. El Terrifico. Sorry, Ed. Did Eddie say he's just been hanging out with the Rolling Stones? No, what I mean is that maybe is it possible that Hugh Grant wanted to do that because it would, roughen up his image a little bit. Maybe he thought he had too clean an image and he wanted to roughen it, like having a night out with the Rolling Stones. That's what they used to say, isn't it? Okay, Nicholas, no matter how good is the girl, if they're non-performers, no matter how good is the girl, if they are non-performers, no one wants them. In general, UK girls are useless in bed due to the media talent than what they should do, etc. Are you saying they're all show and no go? Mark Gano, 1979. How old are you guys? I was born in 1986. Paul Hoskin, you dirty man, you dirty man. McLaren F1 race. Shane Warne lived with Liz at the Manor House in Hertfordshire. You said Hertfordshire. Bad mistake. Oh, Herefordshire. You said Hertfordshire. Okay, well, yeah, okay, whatever. Okay. So listen, I've been on for an hour and 35 minutes up to now. There's not a great deal happening on Saturday night. It's a nice little live stream. All right, if we come on and we talk bollocks, then so what? So what? We haven't had too many trolls or spammers or that. We've had a few of them, but I blocked one of them anyway. But so this channel here, this is a lot. This channel is really for live streams, and it's nice that we can talk about other things anyway. Because the other channel, I do a live stream on a Wednesday night, but that is essentially a travel channel, so it's all travel talk anyway. But it's been a nice little evening. Just finish off with a few comments before I before I head to something to eat. Nick Ross, Caribbean. Oh my God. How vulgar, how vulgar. Okay. So listen, any more comments and then I'll finish it. So like I say, if you're looking for something to watch on Netflix, and if you've never seen No Country for Old Men, and a lot of people have seen it, or The Last Stand, I would highly recommend those two. Let me see now. Cats and Good Coffee. Years ago in Barcelona, when Nigerian hookers, like the one with the big lips that used to seduce tours, took them to a hidden place, and while the tours were getting the BJ, other ones robbed them. Beware of them, beware of them, be careful, be absolutely careful. Gemini Star, avoid late meal is Eddie. Last time I ate was about 12 hours ago. Nick Ross, Azerbaijan girls are fantastic and hairy too. Oh, lovely stuff, lovely stuff. Yours travels, head for something to eat. It's midnight. I've actually been enjoying my food. Those as the deliveries. I've got an awful lot of tin stuff, but I've been really enjoying a lot of the stuff that I've been getting. Do you ever find that you go through a phase where you cook meals and you think, I'm not really enjoying my food. I'm just not in. I can't do a meal I'm really enjoying. Well, I've actually a lot of the stuff that I've been eating, I've really, really enjoyed. I love those McCain's. Jack of potatoes, soften them up in the microwave, bung them in the oven, absolutely lovely. Put a bit of butter on them, marvelous. I've been eating a lot of good stuff recently. Let's see, Yogi Bear. You can have steak at home, but sometimes you fancy a burger. Funny enough, I've got burgers in the freezer. Smooth operator, you're having something to eat at 23:45. That's okay. I'm a bit of a night owl, to be honest with you. Stephen Forex, have you got your Sunday roast supplies? I think chicken roast is going to be on the menu tomorrow somehow. McLaren F1 is cheers, Eddie. You make our evenings, mate. I love you, dude. Okay, thanks for that. Thanks for that anyway. Nick Ross, Prince Harry married his piece because she could. Okay, whatever. Do we really, really know that? Maybe you know something I don't know. Cats and Good Coffee. Sleep well, gentlemen. Okay, Cats and Good Coffee. No live stream for all women, Lisa. Okay. Nick Ross, never eat steak anymore. Too expensive and dull. I've had a few steaks from Aston. I purchased a few steaks. They went down well. They went down well. A nice rump steak. Smooth operator. Do you sleep much generally, or just nap intermittently? I haven't been to work, recently. I don't know whether I'm going to go back to work or not. I don't know, or whether I'm permanently retired yet. So I sleep whenever I want, basically. But when I eat something, I have a few beers of an afternoon and then I sleep afterwards. Not a good habit, but anyway. Roy Gold, amazing that new film, The Adam Project, has music Gimme Some Lovin' by Spencer Davis Group and Led Zeppelin. Oh, absolutely fantastic. Okay, let me see now. Okay, so I'm going to finish this now anyway. We've been on for about an hour and 40 minutes. It's not been the most inspired lives, but we've kept going anyway. We've kept going. It's Saturday night. There's not much happening. I'm looking forward to my travels in a few months' time. So hopefully some of you guys are as well. So I'll probably be back on Monday night at 10 o'clock on this channel because I like the weekdays. I really, really like the weekday evenings because there's absolutely damn all happening weekday evenings, late at night. So why the hell not? Listen, guys, have a great weekend. Thanks for coming along this evening, and I'll see you soon. I'll see you on Monday.